Hi, welcome back to video class 4. See, till now I uploaded 3 video classes. In that, in my very first video class, I given introduction part regarding the trusses. And then again in remaining video classes, I solved the 2-bar truss problem. And today in my video class, again I'm going to solve one more numerical problem, which is of 3-bar truss member. Okay, just you look into the slide. It's my problem number 3. Just I'm going to read out the problem statement first. Consider 3-bar truss shown in figure. It is given that Young's modulus will be 2 into 10 to the power of 5 megapascal. Determine the nodal displacement and stress in each member. Okay, and also along with this they have given figure. Okay, from the problem statement we came to know that we are supposed to calculate nodal displacement in the structure along with how much stress that is going to be induced in the each element due to the application of 150 kilonewton that is going to be acting at node 3. Just to observe the figure, that too in downward direction. From the figure we came to know how many elements are they given. 3 elements are they given, along with 3 nodes also they are given, and also they are mentioned area of the first, second and third elements. The area of the first element is equal to 1500 mm square, and area of second and third element is equal to 2000 mm square. Okay, one again you have to give concentration. Just you look at the node 1, node 2 here. Node 1 is completely constrained here, and whereas node 2 is not completely constrained. Instead of complete constraintion, they are given a roller in that. Okay, whenever they have roller, just to observe the node 2 here, the roller is there, no, the rolls will be free in to move in x axis, whereas it is there is no movement in y axis. In that situation, I should take x as something value, for y I should take as a 0. Suppose if the rollers are in vertical direction, they I can say that y value will be something value will be there, whereas x will be 0. That's what there will be difference between whenever they have a fixed condition along with ruling condition. Now from the figure the node 2 have a certain value in x direction and 0 in y direction. Okay, now this from the problem, now I have to go for calculation of nodal displacement along with stresses in each member due to the application of 150 kilonewton at node 3, that in downward direction. Let us solve this problem step by step. What is the first step we are supposed to do? Always in FEM, the first step we need to follow is creation of finite element model. For the given physical problem will be converted into finite element model. Okay, now here just I have created here first model, that is finite element model, FE model. As for the physical problem, I have done FE model here. I mentioned 3 nodes 1 2 3, along with 3 elements also I mentioned 1 2 3, and also I mentioned here its particular degrees of freedom for particular nodes. See, I already have discussed in last previous video classes that for analysis of planar trusses or simply trusses, it will be considered as 2 degrees of freedom. Nothing but each and every node having 2 degrees of freedom. Now, that's why see, just to observe here at exactly at node 1 I have mentioned Q1, Q2. Those are the displacement values of node 1 with respect to x, with respect to y axis. Similarly, along with that I have mentioned F1, F2. These are the forces which are acting at node 1, that too along one along x axis, that is F1, and F2 along y axis. Now similarly go for Q2, Q3, Q3, Q4 and F3, F4 also they are mentioned at node 2. Those are the nodal values at node 2 with respect to x, with respect to y, and forces acting along node 2 with respect to x, with respect to y. Similarly, you go for node 3, Q5, Q6, those are the displacement values of node 3 with respect to x and y axis. And similarly, F5, F6, these are the forces which are acting at node 2 in with respect to again x and y axis. This is the first step you have completed in FE solution, that is FE model is completed. Now once your FE model is completed, then you go for creation of nodal coordinate data table. In that I know, see, before going for filling, just I'm going to recall whatever solved in the problems there, what are the procedure we have followed in this. See, during creation of nodal coordinate data table, here the reference point you need to take here. Some other point or particular node will be considered as a reference point. With that particular reference point, we need to represent how far the other nodes will going to be situated, that we are supposed to fill in the nodal coordinate data table. From the figures here, in the table I have taken node 1. See, I have mentioned node 1, node 2, node 3, all are the given nodes they are given, along with x and y column I have created. Here from the figure I have considered node 1 as a reference, that's why I have given x and y coordinates will be 0 0. Okay, see, it doesn't mean that you have to follow what I have done here. Better you can take 2 also, no issue, but you will get negative values. Those will not avoid that. I have taken 1 as a reference point. For that I have given x and y will be 0 comma 0. Now how far the node 2 will be situated with respect to reference point? My node 2 will be situated at a distance of 800 from reference point, that is with respect to x axis, and there is no height for node 2. Now go for node 3. Now how far that is far distance that is situated, and how far that height will be situated with respect to reference point. Now node 3 will be situated at a distance of 400 mm with respect to x axis, with a height of 400 mm with respect to y axis. Just to observe the figure, as for the figure filled your nodal coordinate data table. See, this is how you have to create nodal coordinate data table. Here once again I am going to repeat you, somewhere point or some particular node will have to take as a reference point. With that reference point, how far the other nodes will be situated, that you are supposed to fill in this table. Okay, next you go for next table, that is creation of element connectivity data table. In element connectivity data table, we need to create the table with headings of, just I am going to reading the headings. Those headings are element, initial load, final load, and length of the element, along with direction of cosines. Okay, how many elements are there here from the figure? From the figure we can easily say that how many elements are there? 3 elements are there. Okay, 3 elements, that's what I have written, 3 elements. And second column you need to fill now. What is the second and third column? Initial and final load. Obviously, see here, first node will be made up of 2 elements, sorry, 2 nodes. Obviously those 2 nodes are first node and second node. In that you have to decide which one I should take as a initial and which one I should take as a final node. Okay, from this, see here, I have taken here 1 as a initial node and 2 as a final node. In this problem I have taken which one? 1 as a initial, 2 as a final node. Similarly for second element, obviously second element is also made up of 2 nodes. Those 2 nodes are node 2 and node 3. Just to observe this figure here, node 2 and node 3. Again in that you have a question that which one is going to choose the initial and final. In my problem I have taken 2 as a initial and 3 as a final node. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to take 2 as a initial, 3 as a final, as you wish. Understood? And also for the third node, see here, third element, it is made up of 2 nodes. Obviously those 2 nodes are 3 and 1. 3 and 1. Here also you have to choose which one you are going to take as initial and final. But I have taken 1 as initial and final as a 3. You can also take 3 as initial and 1 as a final. There is no any problem in that. If you take also, finally the value will get same. Next, length of the element, that is called effective length of the elements. See here, effective length of the element, just to observe the figure here, the effective length will be just here. Effective length will be directly there given. Length of the element is 400 plus 400. If you add it, you will get 800 mm. That is what the length of the element are. It is also called as effective length of the element. Whereas for the second and third node they have not given, but we can easily calculate it by using that is the process called Pythagoras theorem. If you apply Pythagoras theorem for that, for the first element and second, we are going to get that is under root of 400 square plus 400 square. If you do it, you are going to get the value of length of the elements, that is I got is 5 I got is 565.58 I got here. Okay, for the both the elements, that is common I got, that is 565.58. that is what mm, in terms of mm I got, that is length of the second element and length of the third element respectively. Now last column left over is direction of cosines. Already I told direction of cosines are nothing represented by L and M, and these values are nothing but direction of cosines. It means it is the angle made by the unit vector of this unit structure with respect to x y coordinate system. Okay, it is the angle made by the unit vector with respect to x y z coordinate system, and these will be represented by L and M. And how to calculate L and M for particular elements? Just I will give an example here how to calculate. Already we know what is the formula. Just I will solve one element, solve for here. Okay, remaining will be as it is. Already we know that L is equal to what? X final load minus X initial load divided by effective length. I told direction of cosines will be totally depending upon what your nodal coordinate data table is created. As for that only you're going to put the values and you're going to get the value of L and M for particular elements. See here, here I have taken which one is taken as the initial and which one is taken as the final, that you need to remember. Here first element L, and for first element I am going to calculate now. L is equal to what? X final. Here I have taken node 2 as a final, node 1 as initial, divided by effective length is already we know, that is 800 mm. Here with respect to that, here just observe the nodal coordinate data here. Okay, see here, whenever you're talking about first element, you are supposed to look after only first node and second node. There is no third node here. In that, you have taken 2 as a final load. With respect to always L will be talks about x axis, M will be for y axis. Now you have to concentrate on only along x column, don't about y column. Final load value magnitude. Node 2, what is the x value there? They are given 800 mm, for 1 as a 0. Now I have taken find x final nothing but they are given 800 mm, sorry 800 minus, for initial node will be 0 and effective length will be 800. If you do it, you are going to get 1. Similarly for first element, what is the value of m now? That is with respect to y. Y final load minus y initial load divided by effective length. Effective length is common. That is for the same element I am doing L and M. Okay. Now again same here I have taken 2 as a final load, 1 as a initial load. Now just to look after now nodal coordinate data table. Now whenever you are seeing for M, don't look at the x column now. Just look at the y column. For the node 1 and 2, y will be both, for both these y will be 0. 0 by anything will be 0. That's what I have written here, 0. So by this similar way you are going to calculating for again for second element and third element values of L and M I have calculated. I have written there. What is that value here? For second element, the L value will be minus 0.707 and M value will be 0.707. Similar for third element, L is equal to 0.707 and similarly for M is equal to 0.707. So this is how we will calculated the values of remaining L and M for particular elements using the formula. See, this completes your third step in FE solution. Next you go for fourth step. What is the first step? Already you are familiar, that is creation of elemental stiffness matrix. See, in my last class along with the problem I have sent you the derivation of stiffness matrix for the truss element. What is the derivation? That is the elemental stiffness matrix for the element is equal to AE by L into the matrix of L square ML minus L square minus ML ML M square minus ML minus M square minus L square minus ML L square ML minus ML minus M square ML M square. See, this is the formula we have derived and I have sent in video class, nothing but video class 3, nothing but last video class I have sent along with the problem. So using that formula I am going to calculating now individual stiffness matrix. How many elements are there here? 3 elements, nothing but I need to create 3 elemental stiffness matrix. Once you got 3 elemental stiffness matrix, then you go for creation of global stiffness matrix. Now I'll go with K1. K1 nothing but element stiffness matrix for the first element. What is the area? The area they have given, area is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of 1000 So 1500 mm square they are given, and Young's modulus is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of 5 they are given, and effective length for the first element is 800 mm square. And already I have calculated what is the value of L and M. L. So before going for putting the values, you keep it ready for L square and M square. Okay. Here, if you do it square for 1 also, you get the same value. That's what L and Lm is equal to 0, M square equal to 0. I put the value. At last I kept 10 to the power of 5, and everything will be multiplied inside the matrix. Okay. Better you represent 1, 2, 3, 4. Reason also I told, because during addition it will be, don't make us to go for confusion. Okay. Better you represent 1, 2, 3, 4, because first element is made up of two nodes, and here each node having 2 degrees of freedom, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why you represent 1, 2, 3, 4 for the matrix you got for the first element. Similarly, you go for same formula for the second element. Here for second element, area is different, that is 2000 mm square, and Young's modulus is common, and the length will be 565.68, and you also represent your particular L and M for that. Okay, and before going for putting value of L and M, you keep it ready for L square, ML and M square. If you do it L square, you got 0.5. Okay, M square, and also everything you have calculated, put the values here, and also you keep it 10 to the power of 5 common and multiply inside everything, and you got the value. Okay, that is 3.53, and also same thing I got what I represented. For that element you represented 3, 4, 5, 6, because your second your element will be made up of two nodes, that starts with 2, 3, not 1, 2. Okay, through 3 and 2, 3, nothing but you represent here 2, 3, it starts with 3, 4, not 1, 2. Okay, because your second element is made up of node 2 and node 3, not node 1, node 2. Okay, nodes 2 are represented Q3, Q4, nothing but you start with 3, 4 and 5, 6 you have to represent here. Similarly, go for third element. For third element, again same formula you need to put here. Same formula, that is E by L. Here is common as for the second element, that is 200, and Young's modulus is common for all the members, 10 to the power of 2 and 10 to the power of 5, and again also you got the same value of effective length, that is 565.68. If you do it, you are going to get same here, because again go for putting well again inside you put the values of L and M. L for third element will be 0.707, and M will also 0.707. Okay, if you do it, you're going to get L values, and those L values you are supposed to put in matrix. Again, after keeping 10 to the 5 and remaining everything will be multiplied inside that, and for that you need to represent now. Okay, because here just to observe here, first element is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas second element is made up of 3, 4, 5, 6. But here, just here, be careful here, which one you have taken initial, which taken here. Directly I cannot write 5, 6, 1, 2, because I have taken 1 as the initial here. Just be careful here. Writing third element, stiffness matrix, I have not written 5, 6, 1, 2, because here just you observe the table here. You go for let's observe table here. I have taken initial as a 1, final as a 3. If you would have take 3 as initial and 1 as a final, it is similarly it comes as a 5, 6, 1, 2. Now that's why I have taken 1 as the initial. Now for that I need to go for 1, 2, 5, 6, not 5, 6, 1, 2, because there in element connectivity data for third element I have taken 1 as a initial, 3 as a final. Now if you have taken with 3 as a initial, 1 as a final, now the table will be starts with 5, 6, 1, 2. Now because I have taken 1 as the initial, it starts with 1, 2, 5, 6. See, this is what the careful you have to remember, because that is also plays very important role your element connectivity data. Okay, that's why I have taken 1 as the initial, that's why it starts with 1, 2, and 3 as a final, that's why I start with 5, 6, 1, 2, 5, 6. Okay, see, this is how you have to be careful while you are solving or while you are creating your elemental stiffness matrix along with elemental creativity data. Now once you have created all the elemental stiffness matrix, you are supposed to go for creation of global stiffness matrix. Global stiffness matrix, we know that from the figure directly I can say that what is my maximum or what is my size of the global stiffness matrix. Here how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3. Okay, here each node having 2 degrees of freedom. 3 into 2, if you multiply, you'll get 6 by 6. Nothing but 6. My global stiffness matrix will be obviously 6 cross 6. Now, how to get my global stiffness matrix here? Global stiffness matrix can be obtained by adding stiffness matrix of first element and stiffness matrix of second element, stiffness matrix of third element. Now just I have written directly 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 for the entire structure, because by seeing the figure we can easily tell that what is the size of the matrix you are going to get in the last. Okay, 10 to the power of 5, that is common. Okay, because here there is no rule to that you have to maintain 10 to the power of 5. If you maintain 10 to the power 4 also, well and good, but you maintain it is common for all the elements, so that is helpful for adding all those elements. I have taken 10 to the power of 5 common for all the 3 elemental stiffness matrices. Okay, now inside the matrix this goes on adding the elements. Now directly write 1 2 3 4 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, now just add, now just added now. Okay, for the first element what are the elements will be there, I have added everything, I have added here. Okay, for example, see, let's tell you here first 1 cross 1, just to observe the table here, 1 cross 1 here. Where is my 1 cross 1? For 1 cross 1, what is the value you got it here? If you do it 1 cross 1, see 1 cross 1 is going to be happening in first element of stiffness matrix, that is 3.75. It is also going to be situated in third stiffness matrix. That's why I told you you have to be careful. That's why you have to mention the names, mention the numbers also. If you mention the numbers, it is easy for us to adding. Okay, 1 cross 1 is also situated on third your elemental stiffness matrix, that is 3.75. Also it is going to situated on first element of stiffness matrix 3.75, 3.75, 3.75. You need to add, you will going to get 7.285. Next 2 cross 1. Next you go for 2 cross 1, that is for the first elemental matrix, that is 2 cross 1 will be 0, and again for here 2 cross 1 for the situated along elemental stiffness matrix 3 also it is situated, that is 3.53. You got the idea or not? That is always 3.53. Now go for next 3 cross 1. Here you going to 3, you will get 3 cross 1. Again you go for the first elemental stiffness matrix. 3 cross 1 is equal to how much? Minus 3.75. That's what I have written, minus 3.75. Next you go for 4 cross 1. Just 4 cross 1 is how much? That is available in K1 matrix. Okay, K1 nothing but elemental stiffness matrix 1. You remember. I will call as a K1 now. K1 4 cross 1 is 0. I have written 0 for that. Next 5 cross 1. See, 5 cross 1, just you go here. There is no 5 cross 1 available in K1 and K2 stiffness matrices. Directly go for again for K3 stiffness matrix. There 5 cross 1 is available. What is the value? Minus 3.53. Again go for 6 cross 1. Again that is available on same thing, that is K3 stiffness matrix. That is minus 3.53. Similarly, you go for 1 cross 2 now. 1 cross 2 that is available on K1 stiffness matrix, that is 0. 1 cross 2. Again you go for here searching for K3 value. 1 cross 2 is again that is 3.53. I have written same thing. Next 2 cross 3. 2 cross 3 here. First you go for searching here 2 cross 3. For 2 cross 3 that is 0 here in K1 stiffness matrix. Then you go for again K3. 2 cross 3 that is 0. 2 cross 3 will be 0 again. 2 cross 3 will be 0. Okay. Now see, before going for 2 cross 3 I should solve for 2 cross 2 also. Okay, sorry, I have to go for 2 cross 2 next. 2 cross 2. Now you go for 2 cross 2. 1 cross 2 is already I have calculated. Now 2 cross 2. Now you go for 2 cross 2 here. 2 cross 2 will be 0 in K1 matrix. Now you go for again for K3 matrix. 2 cross 2 is 3.53 now. Again you go for 3 cross 2. 3 cross 2, search for 3 cross 2. 3 cross 2 will going to be available on 3 cross 2 available on K1 matrix, that is value will be 0. Okay, that's what I have written. 3 cross 2 will be 0. Next 4 cross 2, that is also, if you see here, that is also will be getting 0. Next you go for searching for 5 cross 2. 5 cross 2, there is no 5 cross 2 available in K1 K2 matrix, that is available on K3 matrix. 5 cross 2 is minus 3.53. Again you go for 6 cross 2, again available on K3 matrix only. That's what I have written, 3 minus 3.53. Okay. Now you go for searching 1 cross 3 here. 1 cross 3. Again you 1 cross 3 means thing, but you go for first K1 matrix 1 cross 3. How much you got here? Minus 3.53. That's what I mean, minus 3.75, sorry, minus 3.75. Again you go for 2 cross 3. 2 cross 3 it will not going to be happening in K3. Directly you go for either K1 or K2 here. K here 3 cross 3 here. For 3 cross 2 cross 3, 2 cross 6 here, 2 cross 3 you will get again 0 value. Okay, that's what you have done here, 0 value. Okay, next you go for 3 cross 3 here. Here 3 cross 3, just here 3 cross is situated on two matrices K1 and K2. Be careful here, that you need to add, that is 3 cross 3 3.75 plus again it will going to available on 3.53. If you add it you will going to get 7.28. Next you go for 4 cross 3 now. 4 cross 3 available on both the things, nothing but in K1 and K2. In first K1 matrix, okay, 4 cross 3 will be 0, but for K2 matrix 4 cross 3 is equal to minus 3.53. Next 5 cross 3. 5 cross 3 available on K2 matrix, that is again 5 cross 3 minus 3.53. Again 6 cross 3, again same thing available in K2 matrix, that is 3.53. Now you go for fourth column in a global stiffness matrix here. Next 1 cross 4. 1 cross 4 is available now. You search here, available S in K1 stiffness matrix, that is 0. That's what we written here. 1 cross 4 0. 2 cross 4 also 0. From the table you can see here, that is available in K1 stiffness matrix, 0. Next you go for 3 cross 4. 3 cross 4 if available on both the matrices K1 and K2, but 3 cross 4 will be 0 for K1 stiffness matrix, but in K2 matrix 3 cross 4 is equal to minus 3.53. Next 4 cross 4, that is available in both the things, but for first stiffness matrix 0, for second one 4 cross 4 minus 3.53. Next you go for 5 cross 3, available on again K2 matrix minus 3.53. I have written here. Again 6 cross 3, again same thing, again it will be minus 6 cross 3 3.53. I have written here. Similarly you go for fifth row here, 1 cross 5, like that I have calculated minus 3.53. 2 cross 5 also I have calculated same thing. Similarly you go for adding all the things here. Okay, now once you added all the things you're going to get global stiffness matrix. See, this is how you need to add up, and the reason why I told you to mention 1 2 3 4 5 6, and also it is easy for us to add because sometime 2 cross 2 or 3 cross some 4 cross values are going to situated on two stiffness matrices for the elements. Nothing but either available on either 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. It is my chances. That's the reason you have to mention numbers also 1 2 3 4 5 6 or 1 2 3 4, whatever it may be. Okay, this helps us to find out the easy for addition of the elements. Next step is what? Go for formation of global force vector. Okay, global force vector, just to observe the figure here. As for the FE model here, force I have given exactly acting at node 3. Okay, now you observe the figure FE model here. F1 F2 will be 0, there is no force acting. F3 F4 also 0, there is no force acting. But force acting at node 3, which direction you have to note down now? That is along F6, that is y axis, that you have to consider as a F6, not F5 now. You got the value or not? That's why I have to take F5 0, F6 is equal to acting downward direction. I have taken minus 150 kilonewton. Okay, now you go for next step. Next step is what? Creation of equation of equilibrium. Now you have to, what is the formula? That is KQ is equal to F. Just now you got the value of global stiffness matrix. Just now I have created a force vector, global force vector, and Q is nothing but you have to mention all the global, nothing but global nodal vectors, nothing global displacement vector you have to represent. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5, 6 you have to represent. Next, once you have created equation equilibrium, now you go for application of boundary condition. For that you need to go for seeing your original figure. Here node 1 it is completely fixed. In node 1 what are the nodal displacement vectors? Nodal displacement acting Q1 and Q2, nothing but Q1 Q2 will be, you have to eliminate completely. Just you look at node 2 now. Here node 2, just now I told, here rollers are going to move in X direction and there is no movement in Y direction. That's why Q3 will not going to be 0, whereas Q4 equal to 0. Now what are the terms will become 0 now? Q1, Q2 and Q4 equal to 0, not Q3, because Q3 they are given rollers. Now eliminate your first row, first column, second row, second column and fourth row, fourth column from equation of equilibrium. The remaining terms are 10 to the power of 5 in the matrix 7, 7.285 minus 3.53, 3.53 minus 3.53, 7.070 and 3 minus 3 plus sorry 3.530, 7.72, and the remaining displacement vectors are q3, q5, q6, and the remaining global force vector remains is 0 minus 50 kilonewton. By solving this, I have got the values of q3 equal to 0.2 mm, q5 is equal to 0.1 mm, q6 is equal to minus 3.12 mm. See, this is how we need to calculate whenever they are given the problems here is using boundary conditions. In boundary condition, you have to be careful whether they have a complete constant or either it may be given roller. Whenever if the roller is in horizontal position, x will be of some value, y will be 0. Suppose if the roller is given in vertical position, y will have a movement or x will be 0. Next you go for calculation of your stresses. You know the values of stresses also. Sigma 1 is equal to E by E1 by L1, I think particular element I am talking about, element 1 minus L minus M minus minus L minus M L M, it represented Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. A Young's modulus is given 2 into the power of 5 divided by 800 mm, that is effective length of the element. My L is equal to 1, if a negative is there minus 1, M is 0, L is again 1, M is 0, Q1, Q2 will be 0, Q3 have a value, Q4 equal to 0. If you do it, you will going to get 50 Newton per mm square. Similarly, you go for calculation of sigma 2 and sigma 3 for the first particular elements. See, this is how we are going to calculate our nodal displacement values along with stresses induced in the element due to the application of 150 kilonewton acting at the node 3. Okay. See, if you have any doubts regarding this problem, please comment on the Google Classroom so that I am going to rectify and in the next video class. Thank you.